Night of Boasts. Campfire on Elgo's III. There are moments that change how you see the universe forever. This was one of them. Under a blood-red sky, on a forgotten world at the galaxy's edge, 3 mercenaries killers, each an apex predator, of their own kind gathered around a flickering campfire. The crackling flames kept the night's creatures at bay, but it was not fear of the local wildlife that filled the air. It was pride. And something else lurking at the edge's doubt. Zahix. The Stronier was first to speak, his words slow and poisonous, like the toxins oozing from his emerald skin. You truly believe brute force is superior? He mocked, pointing a glistening claw at Lero. Strength is nothing if you're dead before you can use it. Lero, the Vozak's thick-furred, hulking, a nightmare in any battle snorted, sending a tremor through the ground. He tore off another chunk of roasted meat and chewed with a thoughtful rumble. Strength ends every argument. Toxins, claws, teeth, cleverness, it's all the same in the end. Only the strong survive. Trox, sitting between them, watched the fire's reflection dance across his own scaled hands. He listened as the two continued, their voices growing, louder and more boastful with each tale of conquest and survival. Both spoke of their people as the galaxy's ultimate predators, each dismissing the other's methods as childish tricks. Then Zahek said it. No one surpasses us, not even the Council's enforcers. We are the end of evolution's chain. Number? Creature, no species can do what we do. Trox's tail whipped suddenly, sending sparks flying. He stood. You're both wrong. Silence dropped, hard and sudden. Zahex's yellow eyes narrowed. Lero's grip tightened on his bone club. Trox didn't flinch. What do you know? Lero growled, voice low, dangerous. Trox's hand drifted to his sidearm. Not as a threat, but a habit born from too many betrayals. I know what the Council doesn't speak of in public. I know why their mercenary contracts now come with one species blacklisted. I know why you never ever want to hunt a human. Lero and Zahix exchanged glances, the kind predators give before they strike. But Trox only stared into the fire, remembering. I've worked with them, he said quietly. I survived because of them. And if you listen, if you let go of your pride for one night, I'll tell you why the galaxy fears humans more than any poison or any claw. Zahix snorted, but curiosity went up. Lero grunted. Fine, convince us. Tell us your story. Trox nodded, a shadow crossing his eyes. I'll give you 3. Each one will show you something different about the species you think are prey. But first, let me tell you about Tony. The Deathworld jungle. The human called Tony. The ship had rattled as it broke through a large turbulent atmosphere. Every plate shuddering with the angry protest of entering a world that wanted nothing but death for visitors. Trox's hands sweated inside his environment suit. The gravity was heavier than standard, the air thick enough to drown you standing up. Outside, the planet waited, hungry. Beside him, Tony. Just Tony. No clan. No lineage hummed to himself, eyes glued to a battered datapad. The human was short and broad-shouldered, his face sunburned and split by a lopsided grin. You understand where we're going? Trox asked, unable to hide the quiver in his voice. Jungle world, Tony replied, flicking to the next page on his screen. Vines that strangle, rain that melts armor, predators that lay eggs in your skin. Exciting stuff. Hey, check this. Out they've got giant dragonflies. Want to see if we can catch one for a photo. Trox stared at him, stunned. Most mercs prepared for death on worlds like Iller. Tony was planning his nature documentary. Their mission, capture a Kanav, local legend. Apex predator, 6 legs, teeth like vibroblades, cunning as a council spy master. Alive, if possible. Trox had already written himself off as dead. For 6 days, they trekked through the death jungle. Trox moved in terror, every step expecting a trap. Tony moved with wonder, stopping to examine every flower, making sketches, sampling venom, laughing at the world's threats. He greeted the world not as an enemy, but as a friend When razor-winged flyers attacked in a pack, Tony recorded their hunting calls and tossed a ration bar, buying them time to run. When acidic rain began, he pulled out a jury-rigged tarp, cursing in half a dozen languages but smiling as he patched it. On the sixth day, they found the Kanovs' den a cave riddled with bones, stinking of old kills. Trox wanted to set traps. Tony just shrugged, checked his gear, and walked in. For 3 days, Tony didn't return. Trox waited, tormented by guilt and fear. On the fourth, unable to bear it, he entered the cave, ready to die. Instead, he found Tony and the Kanov giant, armored, terrifying, playing together. Tony scratched the beast's head, feeding it jerky, cooing at it like a pet. They're not just killers, Trox told the others around the fire. Humans, real humans, can turn monsters into friends. It's not a trick. It's who they are. Apex among equals. The Siege of Ravenspire. The next story took place under a different sky. During the Siege of Ravenspire, Trox, still young, had signed up with a ragtag company of mercs, lured by the promise of easy credits. The Spire, a fortress of stone and ancient tech, was surrounded thousands of enemy troops. No hope of relief, rations running low. Panic and suspicion spread like in species who'd never trusted each other now shared dark looks and clutched weapons at night. Leadership broke down. Betrayals mounted. Then came Elena Morris, a human officer barely 30 years old, called in as a last-minute replacement. Number. Scars, no medals, only quiet confidence and a battered toolkit. She spoke to everyone, not just the officers. She asked about their homes, their families, their skills. She organized shifts, mixed squads by language and background, and most of all, she listened. Elena didn't try to outmuscle the enemy. She turned the Fortress of Legends into real defenses, using ancient pipes to flood tunnels, turning old statues into decoys, and hacking enemy comes to feed them false hope. Where Lero might have led a charge and Zahix a poison attack, Elena won hearts and minds. She inspired even the most cynical to believe. The siege broke not with a last stand, but with a mass defection. The enemy's own conscripts switched sides, lured by Elena's promises of fair treatment and real food. The spire became a beacon, a symbol of unity in a galaxy ruled by fear. Humans changed the rules, Trox said, voice soft. They don't just adapt. They make allies of enemies. When you think they're beaten, they find another way. Why Council fears them. The unseen threats of Hicks, shaken, leaned forward. I've heard stories, he whispered, of human crews surviving, in space with no supplies, of prisoners talking their guards into joining escape plans, of peace brokers who ended wars with jokes and handshakes. Lero nodded, fur bristling. I heard the Council banned human contracts after a single squad defeated a pirate fleet with nothing but drones and rumors. Trox smiled, a hard, sad thing. You're right. The Council has banned hunting humans. Not out of pity, out of fear. He told them about a secret message intercepted by accident. All species are forbidden to accept contracts on human targets. The risk is too great. Humans destabilize ecosystems, alliances, and if threatened, find friends where none should exist. It's not that they're the strongest, Trox said. It's not just intelligence or cunning. It's the combination, adaptable, creative, relentless. They're never alone, never truly beaten. And every time the galaxy tries to put them in a cage, they change the lock, rewrite the rules, and turn the jailers into friends. Zahix and Lero listened, silent, the fire now a fragile thing against the looming night. A new galactic law, the final evolution. In the final glow of the campfire, the three mercenaries sat in silence. The wind shifted, carrying with it the distant hum of engines, a human research vessel landing in the valley. Its crew already stepping out, waving to curious local beasts. Zahix spoke first. I won't hunt humans, not ever. Not for any price. Lero grunted his agreement, eyes still on the fire. They are not what I thought. Not prey, not really predators either. Troke stood, stretching his tired limbs, watching the humans. Below began to set up camp. They are the final evolution of predators, yes. But more than that, they are the first of something new. He turned back to his companions, the firelight softening his features. The galaxy calls them dangerous, and they are. But they're also the only hope we have that things might change. They make monsters into friends. They turn war into peace. They're the reason the stars might not always belong to the strongest, or the cruelest, but to those who see the universe as something worth sharing. As dawn broke over Elgos 3, Trox knew he had done more than tell stories. He had opened eyes to a truth the galaxy still struggled to accept, that the final evolution of predators does not end with teeth or claws, but with a hand extended in friendship and a mind always searching for a better way. And somewhere far above, the stars watched. And perhaps, just perhaps, they are proved asterisk